You know how there's these people online that are like, oh, Hamza got robbed, brutal robbery. Oh, he should have won all 5 rounds. Like extremely overboard, absurd claims. It makes no sense. You're like, bro, these people have to be joking or they have to be bots. Like, it's hard to imagine. I see these people online sometimes, like for other fights. I'm like, these people can't be real. Like, they have to be just like engagement farming or whatever, right? Dude, there's people in my basement. It's been a week since the Hamza Strickland fight. And after the fight, like half the guys in the basement were like, oh, Hamza got robbed. He clearly won that fight. The thing is, there's this like idea of like, oh yeah, they hate Muslims, they hate Muslim fighters, they hate like the oppressed group or whatever, right? That's projection, because these are the hateful people. Because these people before the fight happened, at like 5 p.m. the fight was at like 11:30 or something like that. At like 5 p.m. they're here celebrating this dude's birthday and all that stuff. And some of these guys were like, oh, I hate Sean Strickland. Like they didn't want, they're not thinking about it from a martial arts perspective. They're not thinking about it from like a whoever made the best man win perspective. They're like, I hate Sean Strickland. I hope he loses. He's so racist. Like he's so, and they're like pointing out things he says that even Sean Strickland jokes about. Like Sean Strickland doesn't take himself so seriously. He's like, yeah, dude, no, I'm out of hate right now. I'm so tired. I need to go back home and fill up the hate meter. Like he doesn't even take himself seriously. Why are you taking him seriously? But they take him seriously, and they take the things that he says that are meant to get a reaction, and they react to it. It's like pure submissive bitch behavior. Like, dude, it's entertainment. I make it clear every time literally almost every time there's a fight. I say like, dude, this is closer to the WWE than real combat. Like it's entertainment. They're entertainers. Like if you're getting something negative out of this, that's literally your problem. That's them energy harvesting you. Don't give them your energy. That's your fault. Like people were upset that they're like, getting along. Isn't that the whole point of martial arts, by the way? Learn to get along with each other through fighting and like better each other as a result. Healthy competition. Isn't that the whole point? These people, it's like, no, winning, beating your opponent, humiliating your opponent, which is a double-edged sword, but it's actually only single-edged sword and it's only pointed at you, to be honest. Khabib's the GOAT, because he has an undefeated record. Because to them, they feel so bad about their own losses in their life that they want to live vicariously through someone who has a like official record of having no losses, right? To them, it's not about a story. It's not about a redemption. They just want to be flawless because every loss they've had in their life, every trauma they've had in their life, they've been unable to overcome or reconcile or make the best out of. So their strategy is like, let me just imagine a fantasy world where I don't have any losses. I'm getting like deep into the weeds of it, but I thought Hamzat was gonna win. Just like almost every other person on YouTube, I'm done listening to YouTubers, bro. And I'm not that much of a fan of Sean Strickland. When he beat Adesanya, that was like peak. Since then, it's been like, okay, dude, the character is getting stale. Maybe people who don't actually watch him don't realize how stale the character is getting, and they don't realize it is a character. And that's why people hate him so much, because like the things he says are so repetitive. Like the moment people started making memes about like, oh, the moment Sean Strickland says, here's the thing, you guys, he's about to say some crazy shit. The moment those memes started popping off, he would just spam it all the time. Like he didn't evolve his character. His character became predictable. A person's character should be so full, so varied that you don't know where it's going. You don't know how it's going to evolve. There should always be something new. But his character became so stale and he played into it so much, it became so boring that it's just blatantly obvious it's a character. Like, give me a little bit of suspension of disbelief, bro. Like, make it hard for me to realize that you're just faking all of this. But apparently a lot of people thought that it was, and I haven't kept up with MMA like that, but I'm like, bro, his character's not real. And then people were like shocked. They're like, what? I thought they had beef. Dude, none of these people have beef. But you have people like Sean Strickland who have had a rough past, who want to like progress as a person, but they struggle and they ebb and flow. And, one point they're like really aggressive and another point they're like a softie. And Sean Strickland is a very sensitive person naturally deep down. He puts on the like harshness on the outside as like a bodyguard for his softer emotions. That is his entire character. Now, how much his bodyguard lets him be vulnerable and all that stuff is a constantly like fluctuating thing with him. And, people get invested in that character. I haven't been too invested because like a lot of it is like, okay, dude, bro, you're not really progressing. Like every time you come up and, you know, you have some progress as a character, you come back down. I have no doubt he's going to go back to his old antics again. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I'd be pleasantly surprised if he doesn't, if he actually progresses and evolves into something totally new. I don't know. I don't even know what he could be. It could be something I can't even imagine. But seeing his interviews after the fact, and then like the attitude of all like the Dagestani fans, because that's what it is. The Dagestani fans are the same fans of khamzat chimaev, the guys who just like align with the victim mentality, the victim identity, and go like, oh yeah, we're just better than these people. We're better than them. Let's cope. Like that's, they live vicariously through these fighters. They worship these fighters. They idolize these fighters, which in Islam it says you're not supposed to. The idolatry, idolize, is haram. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Maybe it's a rule in Islam because they see it in Muslims so much that they have to like point it out, but it's a problem everywhere. But it seems to particularly be a problem here. When Conor and Khabib fought, the Conor McGregor fans were also fans of Khabib. They hyped up that fight so much and sold that fight so much because they were like, this is the best versus the best. But the Khabib fans hated Conor. It's in the same way that like, you know, you meet a dog owner and they'll hate cats, but you meet a cat owner and they'll love cats and dogs. What I'm trying to say is, these people are real, and I don't know if it's genuine or not. This is what I'm making this video for. I've had that thing. I'm sure you've all experienced the thing where I think it's called like partisan perception or something like that. I can't remember. There's another phrase for it, but partisan perception, where it's like you're watching a fight of a guy who you really like want to win, right? You want this fighter to win, and you sort of watch through them. If you put an eye tracker on me while I was watching Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan versus somebody, some unbiased person versus an Arman fan. I'm a Charles Oliveira fan. Who the hell was even an Arman fan for that fight? The eye tracker, I would just be looking like straight through Charles the whole time. And I'm sure you guys have experienced that, where you're really rooting for a fighter. And this is why betting is such a huge problem, because it corrupts who you're rooting for and turns it into like a financial game, you know? Who you're rooting for should be a storytelling, a narrative. It should be trying to replicate some like WWE type thing in a real life, you know? Understanding what it is, understanding that it is role play. Like keeping it at that, keeping it as something unserious. Not something that you rely on to like not be depressed. And when you're in that position, you're like immersing yourself through a fighter and like imagining the fight through their lens. You do what fighters do and you hype yourself up. When you land a strike, you go, that probably stung him. That probably did more damage than it actually did, you know? You want to hype yourself up because there's nothing more demoralizing than hitting someone and them not even flinching and not even feeling it. And then every time you get hit, and I'm saying you as in like you living vicariously through the fighter in the fights, every time you get hit, you're like, it's not a big deal. It was nothing, you know? After that fight, I'm like, yo, Charles Oliveira won that. Okay. It's been some time. I don't even need to rewatch the fight. Arman won the fight. Like I was able to admit that not long after that. When Volk fought Islam, I was like, okay, Volk won the fight. I rewatched it like a year later, or maybe 2 years later, and I'm a Volk fan. Islam won that fight. In that moment though, I truly convinced myself, I truly believed Charles won the fight and Volk won the fight. I really did. I was being genuine about it. So I have to offer that same leeway to these people. I'm like, okay, you think Khamzat won the fight for a bad reason. Like you think he won the fight because you hate Sean Strickland. Like it's not that you actually care about him as a person. You just worship him and you despise Sean Strickland as a person, which is dumb. Like Sean Strickland is just a guy who's hurting, just trying to figure out how to go about life. Like that's all he is. Like I don't understand, if it's not a race thing for you, right? If you're not racist or like religionist or whatever the hell, I don't understand how someone could actually hate Sean Strickland. I understand how someone could feel like sorry for him or pity for him or whatever. I don't understand how someone can go like, yeah, I hate him. I hope he loses. I hope he gets beat up, which is what these people were saying. I do kind of understand it though, but I can't relate. Sean Strickland clearly won the fight. I'm glad I was wrong, because a lot of these guys also ask me for betting advice. Like every fight they go, oh, who do you think's gonna win this? Who do you think's gonna win this? And it's annoying because I want to have these conversations with them, but a thing pops into my mind that makes me overthink and go like, it adds a stress because I'm like, oh, are they going to bet off of what I'm saying? So I can't have these conversations with them. I don't want to enable that kind of behavior. Gambling is self-destructive behavior. Gambling is suicidal behavior in disguise. I'm not trying to enable that. And if you don't think, I can go deeper on that in a different video, but I like it when I get the predictions wrong a little bit because it's like these people are less likely. I've been getting so many predictions wrong, dude. So many predictions. I thought Yuri was going to beat Olberg. I thought Merab was going to beat Petr. I thought JDM was going to beat Makhachev. Like, I just been getting them wrong after wrong after wrong, and I'm really happy about the Jan win. But I was wrong about that one too, and I'm happy about this one. I was wrong about this one too. Chain wrestlers are the meta for beating them is being figured out. When Dricus and khamzat were going to fight, everyone was like, oh yeah, Dricus is going to give him problems because he's explosive. He's not going to make it easy for khamzat. Khamzat's going to have a hard time holding him down. khamzat is going to gas out and Dricus is going to take it. Okay, that didn't work, not because that assessment was wrong, but because the assessment of Dricus's defensive grappling tool set was wrong. But the argument itself, contingent that Dricus had a better defensive grappling setup, that argument wasn't wrong. Why would that same logic not apply to Strickland? It's obvious in hindsight. Strickland comes from American wrestling. American wrestling is not good enough on its own, obviously. You have to be well-rounded. Everyone said this. Sean Strickland has way better wrestling, way better ground game. He really makes you work for it, and he is able to stand up like guys like Ankalaev and these guys who are way bigger, light heavyweight people. All the experts in the background are going yeah, nobody can hold Sean Strickland down in the gym. And the times where khamzat was saying oh yeah, I beat him in the gym because they trained together, was all from worst case scenario starting positions, having Sean Strickland's back and things like that. Same logic would apply. It was informative. It's a new way to think about how to assess fights, to see if the assessment in the last fight was really wrong or if our assessment of the fighter's skill sets were actually wrong. There was a study done, I don't know who it was by, I don't know how long ago it was. You could probably ask some AI, run it through the details, and it'll give you a study. Basically, it was there was a college football game or something like that. People who are fans of both teams were told to watch the game and root for that team, And what they found is that the same game, they're all watching the same game. If that wasn't obvious, it should have been obvious. And the game was relatively even in terms of penalties and things like that. It was particularly measuring penalties. What they found was when you're rooting for a team, there's a selective bias of and this is a real, these people genuinely believe that their team got fouled more. There were supposed to be more penalties that weren't counted towards their team, and that when their team committed penalties, that those weren't justified penalties. Both sides saw this for their side. So this is a real psychological phenomena. Partisan perception, I know it's a phrase, I know it's used for things like this, but I don't know if it's a real psychological term that doctors use. But yeah, I feel them, I understand them. If you thought khamzat won the fight, totally understandable. Rewatch the fight a year later when everything cools down and then tell me khamzat won the fight. Part of me also wanted Sean Strickland to lose because just to see how he reacts, just to see his humility in defeat. I consider Sean Strickland to be a better person than khamzat. I think khamzat is just a sellout. If you have Sean Strickland saying, oh, I just fight for money, all the khamzat fans or all the Dagestani fans would go, oh yeah, see, look at this greedy white person just fighting for money. He doesn't even care about legacy. Remember? But khamzat could say it. And they'll go, oh yeah, you get the money, you get the bag. It's worship. Partisan perception probably plays a role not just in the fight, but in everything leading up to the fight, and just seeing them and the way that they talk and all that stuff and their character and their priorities and all that. I was pretty unbiased. I would have rather Sean won. And now that he did, I'm very happy he did win. But I was pretty unbiased. Sean won the fight. Gambling ruins a sport, dude. Because if you don't gamble, you can be happy even when your picks are wrong. I'm happy Sean won. I'm happy I was wrong about that fight. It is what it is. You live and you learn. I'm not too invested in it. Bro, Joshua Van is champion over Tatsuro Taira. Petr is champion over Merab. Sean Strickland is champion over khamzat Chimaev. And Sean, dude, all these other guys are entertaining. Sean Strickland, it's not even that I like his, people say oh, ground game, all that stuff, jiu-jitsu, it's all boring, right? It's boring. Stand on your feet and strike. Sean Strickland makes striking boring. Okay? It's not even I'm a Strickland fan. I just don't hate him, But I am biased. I do like how strikers are on top right now. Goodbye, guys.